I think I'll be discussing something about problem solving skills. Well, problem solving skills can actually be learned by a person when he or she has to be forced to do something about getting away from the stuck kind of instances in life or circumstances, then eventually from stuck up to changing something out of stagnant condition. So problem solving skills are not actually can be built on easily or smoothly by a mere genius person. Meaning, geniusity is but one big factor, but it cannot totally solve the so-called solving a certain problem. So what is actually ideal to some experts would say that the skills on problem solving should have a system. So that's it. There should be a system. So one of the suggested kind of skills that Meta AI had introduced to the public online or netizens is the so-called 5-step problem solving loop. 5-step problem solving loop. So what are those things in the 5-step problem solving loop? So we have 5 elements. These 5 elements are, first, it was suggested by Meta AI that as a problem solving experiencer is we should define, understand, and identify the real kind of problem. So aside from identifying, understanding, is we should go to the grassroots level. The grassroots level approach would lead us to adjust that we should know the cause and effect of this kind of problem. So after knowing what are those, then we could go to the second element. So the second element has to do with identifying if the problem is general or broad, and it would be more advisable if it is simple. Why? Because if the problem is in general state, it would be very scary to us. While if it is simple, it is a tone of solvable, meaning to say it will be easy for us to solve the problem. Then the third element is the so-called generate options. Generating options should be, of course, undertaken by the problem solver. So what are those strategies that the person has to do? Of course, he has to do the so-called self-brainstorming, and in that process 3 to 5 identified self-suggested solutions could be formulated out of those self-brainstorming. Then in the generating ideas is the problem solver could also ask or seek for assistance from the coaches or problem solver experts. So those are the alternatives. The recommended steps from oneself, and of course from the experts or from the other people around us whom we trust always. Then the fourth one rather, is the so-called test and decide. So in testing is at least within 2 days, 48 hours, we ourselves had already formulated some steps or actions to be put or applied to that particular problem. We have the so-called action beats overthinking, meaning it's better to initiate a step before done stuck up with thinking of nothing, solving nothing. Then the fifth one or the last one is the so-called review and learn, meaning to say we have to reflect or use the reflective strategy again so that we can sort out those applications or strategies that are very workable for that certain kind of problem. And we learn from those. Then the next one is, out of those reflection, is already the ways to issue out or stay out from those kind of problem if it could be avoided. So those are the 5 steps in problem solving loop suggested by Meta AI.